this is the Evolve Marketplace, and you can see all of the juicy security capabilities that you can get access to. And you can filter down into things like penetration testing, your compromised accounts, your incident response, various security infrastructure and integrations, cyber threat intelligence, and then various sort of utilities. So, for example, if you wanted to get access to a penetration testing capability, you could come in here, have a look at the details, import that into your account. And then what that will do when you import that into your account is ingest an Evolve automation workflow, which is that on-demand specialist security capability that we were talking about. So if we filter down to penetration testing, we can see here that there's the Evolve external infrastructure pen testing workflow. To launch a penetration test, we click a Create Instance button. You can then give it a nice name, such as DMZ, or it might be, Client 1, if you're a service provider. And then all you need to do is fill out these 5 fields. So you can give it, a date and time that you want it to kick off. You can give it the ranges that you want to have penetration tested and have active attacks go on. Give it a domain name, a company name, and then the emails for where you want the results to go. So you can customize the dashboard name as well, so it's unique. And then you can see, you can get really fine-grained into the configuration of the penetration test. So these are the 5 phases that the penetration test goes through. And so you can come in here and configure all of the juicy details within the penetration test as to how you want it to run. So that might be tuning some of these to be more thorough, or it might be that you want a faster result. So for example, if you were doing an internal penetration test, maybe you don't want the internet reconnaissance to occur, or you only want, say, for example, to get the passwords, leaked passwords that can be used during the lateral movement phase. And then you may want to also have a look at things like your post-exploitation options, such as automated password cracking and how long you want that to run for. Within the reporting, there's a lot of fine-grained tuning that you can do. All of the different sections you can either include or exclude in the report. That's completely up to you. Usually the way that we do it to begin with is the defaults are pretty good for the penetration tests. Go and run the pen test, have a look at the results of the report, and then basically from there say, all right, well, maybe we don't want to include firewall holes, and we go and disable that, or we might not want to include things like the employee intelligence information. So what you can also do is get a few different formats. You can also fine-tune how much information is included in the report. So, if there are, for a particular technology, if there are 50 vulnerabilities, do we want to see all 50 listed out? Or do we only want to see, say, the top 5? So you can specify that here. You can also specify, by default, we'll give you all of the vulnerabilities that we find, just from a thoroughness perspective. But if you only want to see the vulnerabilities that also have exploits associated with them, so this is where we move away from just vulnerability management to what we call exploitability management. So if you want to only see the exploits that vulnerabilities that have exploits associated with them, because they're the ones that are actually going to get attacked, you can select this, and it significantly reduces the number of vulnerabilities that you have to triage. If you also want to go to the next level, you can actually say, only show me the vulnerabilities that Evolve has actually exploited successfully during the penetration test. And again, that will again reduce the findings so that it's automatically prioritizing those vulnerabilities for you so that you can say, all right, well, yes, we know that we've got, 1,000 critical vulnerabilities across our internal network, for example. But we only, this report would say, here are the 5 that were exploitable this month. You can then say to your IT team, right, can we go and get these 5 fixed? They're actually exploitable. And you can also then report up to your executives or up to your board to say, all right, yes, we've still got, 1,000 vulnerabilities that, we're managing, but they're not exploitable. These 5 were exploitable. We actually fixed those this month, right? So it gives a reality check as well when you're sort of reporting on vulnerabilities up to executives and to the board. Okay, you can also feed in custom report templates as Word documents, so that you can actually create your own Word documents, right, that can come out of this. So off the penetration test, you can actually give multiple templates and it'll actually produce multiple reports. So you might want a full technical report and you might want just an executive summary or even a board report that comes out of this automatically, right, just with summary data. So you can feed that in and Evolve will automatically populate that for you. So all you need to do is fill out those 5 fields, hit next, review the settings, and hit create. And you'll see at this point, it redirects us to this workflow instances section. So you can see here it's creating our penetration test. It's got our parameters in there. And it's also now building out all of our resources to perform the penetration test. So you can see all of the penetration testing modules, data storage, Evolve security zones, even NAT gateways to do the pen testing. And basically that will run, and you can set that to run, on a monthly basis, for example. So you've got automated monthly penetration testing off and running. You also get a technical dashboard, which you can go through and interactively, have a look at some of this data. We won't go through this in detail because it's the same information as in the report. But you can go through, there's a little bit more information, some GeoIP coordinates and those sort of things. But it allows you to then drill down into, specific hosts, vulnerabilities, having a look at exploit output without having to scroll through a report. It'll also give you a bit more info around, as I said, the Metasploit attacks. So whether they passed or failed, you can see every single attack that was launched by Metasploit within the environment. And so you can start seeing credentials being extracted, password hashes, and those sort of things. There's things like your domain reconnaissance that you can search on. There's your firewall holes. And again, these are all interactive. There's administrative services and software versions, exposed services that you can again filter on. Then you've got post-exploitation breached accounts. So you can see the systems that were breached, the accounts that were used, and either the password or the password hash with pass the hash attacks. And then you've got your post-exploitation breach graph, which gives you an insight into your lateral movement risks. So you can see these clustered up hosts in the middle. These are your key ones that can be breached and pivoted between each other. And you can see the reasons why. So there's a shared Splunk account in that case, as well as common vulnerabilities between them that you can then, go and remediate. So then that's the technical dashboard to be able to drill down into the details. We also have within our XDR the executive dashboards, and this gives you trending information. So you can come in here and have a look at your trending data across all of your different penetration tests that you've run. You can see all your different vulnerabilities on particular hosts. You can see your top vulnerable hosts, heat maps as well as lateral movement breaches when there's been breaches during the pen test. You can also drill down into some of this and actually, have that filter across the rest of the charts within the dashboard.